Namibia is a place of great photographic opportunity. Its scenic beauty is unique. The otherworldly landscapes of Damaraland, the quiver tree forest, Giant's Playground, and the huge red dunes of Sossusvlei offer photographers endless opportunities. Here we can get eye to eye with amazing sights, indigenous tribal people, while wildlife abounds on the Skeleton Coast and Etosha National Parks. Welcome to Namibia. This is Gustafson Photo Safari. I'd like to have our guide and expert driver, Dirk Theron, tell you about our first destination, the quiver tree forest.
The quiver tree forest is massive amounts of quiver trees in one area, walking distance from the one tree to the next, where they're usually found as solitary trees, maybe one or two. Here we have hundreds of them, hundreds, and they make beautiful photography.
We drove through Namibia in a tough four-wheel drive vehicle. Whether on tarmac main roads, secondary gravel roads, or sandy desert tracks, Dirk got us there in comfort and style. Sossusvlei is a place of otherworldly beauty. The red dunes of the Namibian desert go for miles and miles, offering photographers an infinite variety of shapes and textures. Here I love the mesmerizing patterns of wind-blown red sand across the face of the dune. Colors, shapes, textures, and new patterns emerged as we trekked across the red sand dunes in search of photographic vantage points. Here's Dirk sharing the natural history of these millions of years old dunes.
This is now Sossusvlei. The other flays around used to be a Sossusvlei as well. Used to be the gathering of water. As the dunes grew, it slowly but surely cut off the water flow and it became dead flay. The water then would be deviated to somewhere else in a different direction and a new Sossusvlei would be created. So all that happens is the dune grows higher and it grows longer. Eventually these dunes all in time grow together, cutting off the water flow from the Taugab River, and it creates a new Sossusvlei.
Next morning we took an early balloon ride. We lifted off at dawn in the crystal clear desert air and rode the winds, following our shadow over rivers of grass. The national park looked spectacular and offered ever-changing panoramic views as we approached and rose above the dunes. All too soon we began our descent and landed in the desert where we enjoyed a farewell champagne brunch. From Sossusvlei we journeyed to Namibia's remote Skeleton Coast, site of hundreds of shipwrecks, as well as the amazing Cape Cross fur seal colony.
Cape Cross is the biggest Cape fur seal colony on our coast, and at any given time you will have at least 70,000 to 80,000 fur seals. The sound when you're there is deafening because you've got all these seals barking at each other. You're talking about 80,000 voices yapping at each other. It is absolutely something to hear.
Next stop was scenic Damaraland, where we saw 6,000-year-old Bushman rock etchings. On the way we visited with nomadic Himba tribal people, wearing traditional ornaments over ochre-colored skin. Then the Herero with their distinctively European-influenced dresses. Our last destination was Etosha, Namibia's legendary game park. Surprising to me were the sheer number of animals, the number of species, and the intriguing behaviors we photographed here. I'll let our naturalist photo guide, Lauren Sulkus, tell you about Etosha.
So Etosha is an incredible place, and it differs vastly from one season to another. And effectively there are two seasons, the rainy season and the dry season. And we're going in during the dry season, which from a game viewing perspective is, in my opinion, by far the best time to go to Etosha. The reason is the animals congregate around the waterholes. The elephant viewing at Etosha is fantastic. The elephants at Etosha are big, and at waterholes one can have incredible viewing. And it's not unusual to see at a waterhole in the winter 20, 30, 40 elephants all at one time. As photographers, we're always after the best light, and the quality of the light in Etosha is unparalleled. The early morning and late afternoon light is really so sweet. I always say you want to drink it. It's warm and crystal clear, and when you can shoot in that environment, nothing can beat it. One of the more dramatic animals to see at Etosha is the greater kudu, and so they're very difficult to see in other national parks, in other environments, but at Etosha, especially in the winter time, the kudu viewing is fantastic. There's nothing like seeing a kudu with a huge spread of those horns come down to the water and drink right in front of you. What's unique to the Southern Africa versions of the Birchall zebra is that they have the shadow stripe that happens between the two black stripes. They're patterns made by the way they drink and patterns made by the zebras behind them. The zebra viewing is really fantastic in Etosha, and there's always activity. There's always something going on. There's sparring with the stallions biting one another, the youngsters practicing their galloping, nose rubbing. Terrific to see in Etosha. Different to some of the other bushveld environments where it's very difficult to see a giraffe drinking. There at Etosha, it happens reasonably frequently. And one of the great challenges is to be able to get the timing right, to get that exact correct frame as the giraffe lifts its head very suddenly, as it leaves a trail of like an S with the water. And the great challenge is, of course, to capture that. The camps have waterholes that are lit, and there one has an excellent chance of seeing black rhino, and not just seeing a fleeting glimpse of it, but seeing them really, really well.
The food was good and the lodges comfortable. Add to that the nature, wildlife, culture, and the sheer beauty of this country, and I'm already planning next year's Wild Namibia adventure. Here are some more images from this trip, including a beautiful gallery from fellow Gustafson Photo Safari photographers. For details on next year's Namibia adventure and to sign up for a wide variety of photo tours offered by Gustafson Photo Safari, go to gustafsonphotosafari.net.